Mass Movement in the spotlight.
All right, tonight we are very honored to be joined by Moby. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So I got to ask you right off the bat, because the internet is not always 100% accurate. Your stage name comes from a novel?
Well, this is the story I was told when I was growing up. Before I was born, my parents decided that if I was going to be a boy, I was going to have the name Richard Melville Hall, because I'm related to Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick. And then I was born and they gave me that name, and they realized that Richard Melville Hall is a great name for a 40-year-old attorney, but not such a good name for a 10-minute-old baby. So my father, who had a sense of humor, started calling me Moby. And so I've been called Moby since I was about, honestly, like 30 minutes old.
Now, there used to be this really great festival called Area that you were a huge part of. Whatever happened to that? Because it was a lot of fun.
Well, I started this festival called Area about, 8 years ago, and we did it 2 years. And I think what happened was it just took so much work, and the people who were working on it just didn't make enough money from it, so they all decided they didn't want to do it anymore. I would happily have done it every year for the rest of my life. It was a pretty amazing festival. The first year it was New Order and Outkast and Nelly Furtado and Paul Oakenfold and Incubus, and then the second year it was David Bowie and the Blue Man Group and Busta Rhymes and Carl Cox. It was a really, really interesting festival.
You bring up David Bowie. I heard that he's actually your neighbor?
Well, David Bowie's probably my favorite musician of all time. And strangely enough, we've toured together and we've worked on music together. And about 7 or 8 years ago, he moved into my neighborhood. And so now he lives across the street from me.
Very cool. So let's talk about the new album. It's very different from the last one. It's much more atmospheric. What was your vision?
Well, I've been making music for a long time, and I realized the music that I really like the most is the music that's more atmospheric and more emotional and more personal. So with this album, Wait For Me, I wanted to focus on sort of like the quieter side of the music that I make. So it's definitely a more introspective record.
On the interviews that I've read, you've never been one to praise your singing voice, but you sang on this album on Mistakes. Is that title a reason?
The truth is, I wish I had a beautiful singing voice. If I had a beautiful singing voice, I would sing on every record that I make. But my voice is okay. It's fairly limited. The song Mistake on the record, I sing that because it was the only song on the record that I thought was appropriate for my limited vocal range.
And then another record that I like on it is Shot in the Back of the Head. It's just very pretty. How did that one come to be?
Well, I make the music especially with this record, I made it all at home because I've worked in big studios in the past, and I realize I just am happier working at home, basically making music in my bedroom. So this whole album was recorded in my bedroom, and that particular song started out with a backwards guitar loop, and then I just kept adding bits onto it. Like I played drums on top of it, and then added strings and synths and other guitars and a bass line and pianos, and it was really just the process of just adding more and more stuff.
When you're recording at home, does it ever get weird where the neighbor downstairs is hitting the broom on the ceiling and like, turn that record down?
When I moved into this apartment in 1992, I took one of the bedrooms and soundproofed it. If I'm playing drums, my neighbors can hear that, so I try to only record drums in the afternoon when they're at work.
Well, let's check out one of your records right now so everyone can get a taste of what you're doing. Why don't you introduce Shot in the Back of the Head?
Okay, well, this was the first single from the album Wait For Me. It's called Shot in the Back of the Head, and it's one of the least commercial things I've ever done. It's an instrumental song, and David Lynch did the video, and the video is very dark, and the song is quite dark. I think it's very pretty, but also very dark. So in any case, here's Shot in the Back of the Head by me, Moby.
Putting the world's biggest stars at your fingertips. The Mass Movement with Joe Bermudez. Join the movement now at massmovementradio.com.